And as my train from Topsham pulls away from Exeter Central, yeah, here we are at Exeter Central. And today I'm going to be doing a kind of round robin thing. This train here is going to take me to Barnstaple, where I'm going to get a bus to Bideford, then a bus to Okehampton, and then finally the train from Okehampton back down to Exeter St David's. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to this. We get to ride on the quite pretty Barnstaple line, a couple of bus trips, and then my first trip down to, or from Okehampton, on the recently opened line between Okehampton and Exeter St David's. So yeah, it's going to be a nice August trip out. The weather's not too bad, so let's see how it goes. Well, for this first trip, we'll leave Exeter Central and immediately call at Exeter St David's. Then after a short run on the Great Western Main Line, we will turn off onto the Tarka line at Cowley Bridge Junction. We'll progress on to Crediton and then on through Yeoford, Copplestone, Morchard Road, Exford, Umberley and finally Barnstaple. Now, a few of those are request stops, so we may or may not stop. And also, this is a limited stop service, so some request stops, the ones in grey, aren't even served by this train. And this first leg is 63.5 kilometres or 39.5 miles long and is scheduled to take us 1 hour and 11 minutes. And the first ride today will be on this two-car Great Western Class 158 diesel multiple unit. And this one will do. No seat tours today, as it's all about the journey. It's only a short hop on the connecting line down to Exeter St David's, and then we'll be on the only bit of Great Western line we'll use today, as all the other lines are from the London and South Western Railway and subsequently Southern Railway days. Once we're away from St David's, it sure isn't long before Cowley Bridge Junction and we get back onto those LSWR lines. And now we're on the single track Tarka line and speeding towards Crediton. And I'm loving Crediton's salmon pink paintwork. I think it may be reminiscent of the London and South Western lineage of the line, so do let me know in the comments if that's right. The rolling Devon countryside is lovely along here, and yes, it looks like someone wants the train to stop at Yeoford, where, if you look carefully, there appears to be a book swap in the waiting room. The line speeds vary between 55 and 60 miles per hour from here to Barnstaple, so our 158 is not going to be seriously challenged. As it's single track, then all the stations along here have just one platform, so Copplestone and Morchard Road have both been and gone on the other side of the train, and we're not even scheduled to stop at Lapford. At Exford we are paused for the level crossing before entering the station, and there'll be a longer wait here as it's also a passing place and the train has to await the downworking from Barnstaple. Just south of Exford, the railway picked up the River Torridge, and we're going to be running alongside the river now all the way down to Barnstaple. This is known as the Tarka line, as the River Torridge was one of the two rivers referred to in the book Tarka the Otter. Kingsnimpton is another beautiful request stop. You know, the stations along here are really very lovely. And finally we get a look at the River Torridge. The river valley along here really is lovely, and we're going to get to cross and recross the Torridge as we track it all the way down to Barnstaple. The gentleman sat in front of me just took a call on his mobile phone and was remarking how much he was enjoying the views along the line, and I have to agree with him. And it's interesting to note that Umberley is the second busiest intermediate station on the line after Crediton, and yet it still remains as a request stop. And the river is certainly getting wider as we approach the coast. This line is a 21st century success story, as passenger numbers have more than tripled on the line since 2001. And we crossed the river for the last time over Pill Viaduct before being treated to a lovely view of the old railway bridge, which is now a foot and cycle bridge, which carried trains to Barnstaple Victoria Road Station and then on to Taunton. And we're into Barnstaple on time at 11:25, and the station itself looks lovely, decked out in its Southern Railway green. The interior of the booking hall is especially lovely. Oh, and it has a cafe too. Nice. The external signage is very clear. The bike hire shop at the station is doing excellent trade, as the station is the epicentre of the hugely popular Tarka Trail cycling route. So that was a lovely run down to Barnstaple, or is it up to Barnstaple? Well, down I suppose in railway terms. So here we are at Barnstaple at the station, and yeah, there's loads of buses and it really is quite a handy interchange. My 21A over to Bideford is due in just 7 minutes, so yeah, looking forward to doing the next little hop. Anyway, let's get to Bideford and maybe get ourselves a beer. The 21A will follow the Tor estuary through Bicklington, Fremington and Yelland before picking up the Torridge estuary for the run on into Bideford. The ride is just 9.5 miles or 15.3 kilometres long and should take us about 27 minutes. Judging by the number of suits on parade, it looks like it's launch day for Service 301, and I hope it does better than 21A, which rolls in at around midday, 15 minutes late. And it's summer 2023 and the UK flat £2 fare system is continuing. So it's just £2 for this ride to Bideford. And joy of joys, the front seat is free. The rail line itself used to continue on to Bideford from Barnstaple, but passenger services ceased in 1965. With the successful reopening of the line to Okehampton, there is an appetite round here to reopen the line to Bideford. So let's just sit back and enjoy this little ride through North Devon. Fremington Quay used to be a major port, in fact, the largest between Bristol and Land's End. There's nothing really left of it now, just a quayside, and the old station is a cafe on the cycle path. At Instow we get a lovely view of where the Tor and the Torridge meet, and also across to Appledore. Then it's a blast down the water's edge next to the old railway line and under the modern A39 Torridge Bridge towards Bideford. The etymology of the word Bideford means by the ford, implying that before the bridge was built it was possible, if foolhardy, to ford the river here at low tide. But there's no problem for the 21A though, the bridge is there. And what a bridge it is! It's the Grade 1 listed Bideford Long Bridge, one of the longest medieval bridges in England, being 677 feet or 206 metres long. And here we are at the quayside, Journey's End. Well, at least for now. Right, well, part of the reason for this little ride today was I've never been to Bideford, so here we are in Bideford by the river. Looking very nice, isn't it? First time in Bideford, so gonna have a little mooch around and get a drink, get something to eat, because it's lunchtime and I've got about 1.5 hours before the pretty much one and only bus to Okehampton, so don't want to miss that. Do not want to miss that. Well, it's certainly a lovely walk along here by the quayside, Starting to feel a bit hungry though, so time to backtrack and find something to eat, maybe have a beer. So as a side note, there are 1 or 2 people who comment on my channel and they worry if I don't manage to get a drink sometime during the video, so for them, cheers. And after lunch I bagged a rather nice slice of cheesecake for dessert. Whilst I sit at the water's edge and eat that, let's look at leg number 3. We'll be heading due south up the route of the River Torridge until Hatherley, and then we'll continue towards Okehampton on the border of the Dartmoor National Park. And this section is 45 kilometres or 28 miles long and will take us 1 hour and 20 minutes. This is a very rural run, so we just get an Enviro 300 single decker. Although it's quite old, the interior, it's still pretty okay. Anyway, one hazy last look at the bridge and then we're off up the riverbank. I'm really sorry, these windows are filthy. These country buses are often lightly loaded, but they are a critical service for the local people without private transport. Ooh, and 1 or 2 tourists like me. And the seats really are quite comfortable, which is good news because I'm going to be on here for over an hour. And the little bus has no problem getting us up the hill out of Great Torrington. And it definitely feels like we've climbed up a bit now. These couple of cyclists are making pretty good time up the hill and they're not delaying us that much. These views would be a whole lot better through clean windows. And just before Hatherley, we crossed the Torridge for one more time. The drop-off from behind the co-op is much improved by these guys. And once out of Hatherley, it's time for that final push to Okehampton. And we're off the main road for the approach to Okehampton, with Dartmoor looming behind.
Brilliant, thank you very much.
And with that, we're here.
Well, it was a great ride from Bideford to Okehampton and worthy of a drink. However, I'm not finished yet. I've got to have a little wander around Okehampton and have a look at the place. And then the station itself is just slightly outside town, so we've got a short walk up to the station, and then well, there's a cafe there. I really could do with a nice afternoon cup of Earl Grey. Half a chance I might get one.
The road up to the station had some very interesting architecture, and there is a bus if you don't fancy the walk. And there'll be a prize in the comments if you can guess what I'm listening to. Right, here we are. Okehampton looks to be a pretty substantial station, and it looks like Southern Green is the order of the day here as well. And it's very nice to see buses and trains meeting. The railway came to Okehampton in 1871 with the coming of the London and South Western Railway, although the current station looks distinctly 20th century, resplendent in its green and yellow. Let's take a look inside. Well, the booking hall is a wonderful little time capsule, although I'm not sure that it has the most up-to-date timetable. Well, I'm definitely going to come back to Okehampton to see a bit more and look in the museum on the other platform. I want to know more about this station.
From Okehampton, cheers.
Over the bridge is the goods shed, now turned youth hostel, and this very cute platform building with a cantilevered canopy. It doesn't look like it was contemporaneous with the main station building. Back in the day, this was the Southern Railway's main line from London Waterloo to Plymouth, and one option to the problems of the coastal erosion at Dawlish on the Great Western Main Line is to reopen the whole thing. But somehow I don't think we'll ever see that. And here comes our inbound working from Exeter, and it's a Class 150 two-car DMU. So whilst I make my way back over to the main platform, I suppose it's only right to take one more look at the map and the fourth and final leg for today. We'll come out of Okehampton on the recently renewed track which was done for the reopening in 2021, and hence we should be able to barrel along at 75 miles per hour. Then we sort of rejoin the Tarka line at Colford Junction, except we don't. The two lines are designed to be parallel single track lines all the way to Crediton. As a consequence, Yeoford has only one platform, so we couldn't stop there even if we wanted to. Our side of the track has no platform at all. After that, it's through Crediton and St David's and back to Exeter Central to complete the loop. And we'll take 40 minutes to complete this final 25.5 miles or 41 kilometres. So let's get on board our 150. I'm quite pleased there's a lot less 150s on my local line. The seats are okay, but the trains are so noisy. Well, goodbye Okehampton, until the next time. There's an awful lot of trackside foliage on the line, so there's not a whole lot to see, but we do pass Samford Courtenay, which was in use when this was a heritage line and may indeed reopen one day as a national rail station. The railway station at North Taunton is now a private house, so I wonder if that could ever be reopened, and besides, it's actually a fair way from the town itself. And due to the new track, our Class 150 gets a chance to get close to its operating maximum speed. And then here we are, we're not on a double track railway, it's just two singles pushed together. So Yeoford has the status of not being a station on our line, but being very, very close to it. And finally at Crediton we move across and truly merge with the Tarka line. And there's a lengthy stop here for token exchange and the crossing gates to fall and, well, a bit of Devon chat. Crediton is really lovely. I think the Friends of the station have done a great job for their community here. What a pleasure it must be if this is your home station. Newton St Sires is another request stop which has a pub next door called the Beer Engine. And then we're over the River Exe, onto the Great Western Main Line and quickly into St David's. And here we are back at Exeter Central, the whole round robin complete, and I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. It was lovely to see Bideford, and also Okehampton station was an absolute stunner, wasn't it? So yeah, lovely to finally get my arse up to Okehampton and use the line and see the station. I'll definitely be going back there again. If anything, that cafe is lovely, so yeah, I could do with the breakfast there, that'd be good. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this little round robin through Barnstaple, Bideford and Okehampton, and if you had, then give it a like and give us a comment, see what did you think of the trip, and what were your favourite parts. I release a video every Friday, and with the odd bonus now and again on a Monday, so yeah, do subscribe, and if you subscribe, you've got less chance of missing them. In the meantime, from Exeter Central on a Friday evening, it's goodbye, and thank you very much for watching.
Platform 3 for the 18th